Hello my loves, today I'm going to be doing a review and a swatch session and just kind of my general thoughts on the Kat Von D Innerstellar palette. I have, and I know a lot of you have as well, have been calling it the Interstellar palette because that is a word and Interstellar is not. It bugs me, it really does. Regardless, I really wanted to tell you my thoughts on this. This is a 12 pan palette from Kat Von D that was released for this season. It was available only to like VIBs and VIB Rouges for a while, but it is available to everyone now on Sephora.com exclusively. It is limited edition. I really wanted to give you my thoughts on this if you were interested because I know there have been some really mixed reviews on it, and I think this was my second time using it on the eyes, but I filmed this review yesterday and I didn't feel like now that I've used it a second time today that I really understood the palette as well as I wanted to, so I'm refilming it for you. Not trying to blabber on for an entire year. I will have some tutorials featuring this palette going up really soon. A more neutral one later in the week, and then this really dark one will be up a touch later as well. It comes with 3.08 ounce eyeshadows and then 9.04 ounce eyeshadows. The general idea behind that is that these are the shades that you're going to use the most, you know, in their minds. You might be a total lover of this and run out of this before anything else, but their kind of idea behind this was that these would be the shadows you would run out of first. They give you larger sizes. You get a crap ton of product in this, just a ridiculous amount of product. So it can be a really nice deal if you do like the colors in here. I used this before I used any other Kat Von D shadows. I haven't tried any new Kat Von D shadows in a long time. I used to use the older palettes, and since kind of the reformulation and the revamp of her line where she discontinued like her Ladybird palette and things like that, I haven't really used her shadows in a while, and I genuinely feel like maybe this palette wasn't the nicest place to start. I have heard this from other people, but these are the weirdest shadows I've ever found in my entire life. Now hear me out on this because despite what I'm going to tell you, I do like the palette a lot. They are so crumbly. They are so powdery. Now, I am used to a powdery shadow. I love Lorac shadows, and the Lorac Pro palettes have the crumbliest, like powderiest eyeshadows. But honestly, they're powdery in the sense that like you tap them off once or twice, the powder's pretty much gone. Maybe it made a touch of a mess in the pan, but like you get them on the face and you're not gonna get any fallout. These, as lightly as you go in, as gently as you touch them with your brush, you are going to kick up so much product. It is going to be so crumbly, so powdery, and you have to tap off. I mean, half of the time when I use this palette is spent just with me like tapping off the excess to ensure that there's not going to be shadow all over my face. That being said, it is a really interesting combination of colors, so if you're into the cooler tones, I think this is a really nice place to start. I don't really like cooler tone shadows, at least not on my skin tone, not with the red hair and the yellow undertones to my skin. I find that it just doesn't make me look that nice. This, however, is such an easy place to start because I feel like these are cool tones, but I love the kind of layout of the palette and I love the shades that they selected. I'm going to bring you in for a closer look here in a moment, but just a quick word about packaging. It is kind of a nice sturdy cardboard box. There's really no, fastened closure. It is magnetic. I don't feel like it's going to, fly open while you travel with it or anything like that. It does feel nice and sturdy. It has a pretty substantially sized mirror here in the back. I'm going to go ahead and bring you in so you can see swatches and just the palette in all of its close-up glory. So here's the palette all closed up, and on the back here you have the names of the shadows. Something to note, this is reversed from how it is like on the opposite side of the palette. So Gravitron is in front, the name Gravitron anyways, is in front of this matte color if you're looking at it from the back, but Gravitron is actually this really pretty like pearly pink color, which is a tiny bit confusing, but I think once you get used to it, you probably would just know like this is Gravitron, this is, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, we're going to get into swatches. This is the shade Gravitron, as I just said, which is a beautiful iridescent lavender with a strong pink shift. So there's a bit of duochrome there. We have the shade Vast, and Vast is kind of like a stone taupe color. It's a little bit gray, a little bit taupey. Then we have this matte highlight shade called Lichen. As these are supposed to be like the lightest shades out of the bunch, I did two passes, of each of these three shades. Everything else in the palette will just be one pass because I think that's all it needs. So we have here the shade Gravitron, personal favorite, beautiful color. Then we have the shade Vast and Lichen. Getting into the next row, we have the shade Nightcrawler, which is kind of like a matte mauve color. We have the shade Dios, kind of a stone cement gray color, really, really pretty. And then we have the shade Lunacy. And as I was kind of talking about earlier, here's what I mean by that crumbly, dusty texture. You can see I'm not, jamming my fingers down. I'm rubbing like maybe once or twice over the shadow, but the amount of product that's just kicking up is insane. So you've got the shade Nightcrawler, Dios, and Lunacy. Into the next batch of colors, we have Astrological, which is a really pretty lilac. We have, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to read these names off the box, Dark Star, which I use in the outer corner today. It's kind of like a purpley aubergine color, and it's gorgeous, just absolutely beautiful. And then we have the shade Orion, really pretty kind of reddish brown. So Astrological, Dark Star, Orion. 3 AM is a taupe color that has a lot more brown to it than, say, the shade. They're kind of similar, but this is a more browny taupe. We have the shade Moonshine, really beautiful, like platinum silver. And then Killing Moon, a nice dark matte black. So 3 AM, Moonshine, and a messy swatch of Killing Moon. These aren't the most user-friendly shadows in the entire world. I do think that there's a bit of fallout. I think that there's a little bit of extra work that you have to put into really making the palette nice. It's not like an Urban Decay palette where I can reach for it, just beat up my shadows with my brush, go as hard as I want to, and never, destroy anything. I'm not going to get too much product, I'm not going to get fallout, anything like that. That being said, I think this is a unique combination of colors I personally don't have anywhere else, and I'm quite frightened of I'm quite frightened of cooler tones. I am not afraid of my neutrals, don't you worry. Like I said, just with my coloring, I don't think that they look nice. This makes those cool tones so simple to wear and so simple to pair with other things. I paired it today with a warmer tone blush and then just a nude lip, and I think it looks great. I really do. I think this is a very nice palette, particularly for the $46 price tag. If you are interested, I personally recommend it just for the selection of colors, for the pigmentation. Yes, the shadows, you kind of have to work with them, but I really like it. So I will go ahead and link it down below for you guys. And yeah, I hope you found this review helpful. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already. And until next time, I love you so very much, and I will see you in the next video.